So let's see. Here I am. Good afternoon to everybody. It's you are welcome to the round table of Highland Community Manager project. And the round table today is centered to uh, one important thematics that will bring us to the first key lesson, the second key lesson that will be the 28th of this month. Okay, because each month of the project is dedicated to one thematics. This month, the June, it's dedicated to entrepreneurial. And please close the mic. Please,
Cosa ti volevo
please.
chiedere?
Who is in
Ma
background?
la CEPU aveva detto che voleva 10 pasti al giorno? Non vuole più?
Please, Sara Micheletti, please close the mic. Okay, thank you very much. The key lesson of the 28 will be about entrepreneurial and economic development. So these three round tables are organized to reach this point. Today, we will speak about territorial, how to promote territorial marketing and digitalization. That it's more or this time it's more the objective is more which are the good and the bad ways to promote an area, which can be the ideas, the good ideas that have our speakers, and how we can help the areas to develop without falling in all the trouble of the wrong marketing, territorial marketing. So we start and present the speaker we have today. We have Francesco Bravin. Francesco Bravin is an anthropologist. It's a human relations expert. It's a tour leader and has a degree in intercultural communication and anthropology. He founded Anthropolis to promote the public anthropology. He teaches at Accademia del Lusso and leads cultural tours. His research on Cinque Terre explores heritage, tourism, and identity. Blending academia and practice, it advocates for ethnographic empathy, reflexivity, and understanding social complexity. The second person we have, it's Isabella Mavella. It's a founder or CEO of Greener EU. It's a Berlin-based green startup started in 2019 with a background in international relations. She's a sustainability entrepreneur. Sorry, this word one focused on circular economy, EU project design, and protection of cultural and natural heritage. After we have Maddalena Rozza. Really, I haven't saw her. So at the moment, I will skip her. And we have Alina Stroh.
I'm here, actually.
You are here, actually. Sorry, yes. I didn't. Okay, sorry, Maddalena. Yes, okay, now I saw you. Sorry. So Maddalena is another anthropologist, and she is a sustainable tourism expert with a background in cultural anthropology. Her research in Bali examined tourism cultural impacts, combining a global travel experience with academic rigor. She advocates for community-centered tourism that preserve heritage and foster inclusivity. That's one of the keywords of our project. And last but not the last, it's Alina Stroh that brings something really different and really, really important in each project. She is empowering small and medium enterprise through strategic, non-refundable funding solution. She helped the enterprise to access this funding by turning complex procedures into strategic opportunities of growth, innovation, and sustainability, especially in areas like production, renewable energy, and just transition. So we put together 4 different competences because we want to have a very dynamic exchange between our speakers. So I start with the first question, and when you start, you can add something if I forget something or you want something to your presentation, please be short. And once more, I recommend everybody to go in the chat, see the links that are in the chat, and register in the as student if somebody is not registered, and enter in the WhatsApp community. That's one of the way to keep in contact with the project. So I start with the first key question, and because I believe that each areas, each country, each city has its own vocation. No, so I start with Isabella because it's really interesting the her work with SMAPs. No, it's a project that it's an interesting project. She will tell us, but it put together sustainability and in the way to project be from bottom up ideas, something about ethnographies, because when you have to go to ask to people what they are doing, we are doing ethnographies. So it's interesting how these different ways can be connected in this instrument. Isabella, if you can, it's your the microphone, and tell us how you build maps and what are maps. Thanks.
Yes, thank you so much for granting me the floor. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. So I will be very brief. If you have specific questions, I will be happy to answer them. So the maps, the sustainable maps, are interactive maps printed on recycled algae paper, recycled by the Venetian Lagoon. It's basically a project which is started from the Council of Europe, where I used to live, at the Council of Europe's cultural roots. And basically, the microcultural routes have been invented to promote cultural heritage and preserve cultural heritage in a very specific way. I use the Paro Convention as a base for the cultural heritage valorization, which states that culture, the right to access to culture, the human right, which is one of the principles of the articles. And basically the goal is to give both intellectual and physical access to this maps, to the cultural heritage through this map. These maps are patronaged by regions, by city councils, by different institutions, and they are a way to certify that the points in the interactive maps are actually cultural heritage, and in this way, a new project can be built. Parallelly, I created the Manifesto Meraviglia, which is a manifesto to bring together different organizations with this common goal. So we are stronger as a cluster, and we also have a better certification system. So on one hand, the clusters give us a stronger pointed when asking for new funding, and let's say a dynamic to collaborate, and contemporarily being part of the SMAPs actually gives the individual point the information that they are like certified as a cultural heritage site, which is not evident with, for example, artisans. So the maps are 15 different thematic maps. They are based on the macro-cultural roots of the Council of Europe, which are like the Via Francigena, Santiago de Compostela, and other macro-cultural routes. And the microcultural routes are individually patronaged by some of the macrocultural routes. So this is the whole way to go. If you have any specific questions, I would be happy to answer them as well in the chat and be part of this very important discussion. And I'm very happy to meet you all. Thanks to Fabio and all the community of anthropologists and beyond.
Okay, thank you, Isabella. It's an instrument that we can use to promote the areas, our territories. No, so the same question, but in another way, I will put to Francesco Bravin. It's how can be the vocation of an area. You are an expert about Cinque Terre. It's a very important area, touristic area of Italy, but how can be in the positive and negative way use the territorial marketing to promote these areas?
How many hours do we have? Now, I'll try to be quick. Okay, so Cinque Terre are very famous in Italy. They are one of the most important tourist destinations in Italy, very known worldwide. But it hasn't always been like this. In the past, they were not as known as they are today, especially the less known hamlets. Okay, there are 5 hamlets. Okay, the most famous is probably Monterosso. It's also the largest. The other ones are Vernazza, Manarola, Corniglia, and Rio Maggiore. So Monterosso is the only one with long beaches, okay, that since the 1950s lured tourists, mass tourism, okay, interested in the sun and the sea. But the other villages didn't have beaches, and so they felt excluded, okay? For decades, all the tourism went to Monterosso. So they started some policies, some bottom-up policies that in a matter of a few years led to the UNESCO acknowledging Cinque Terre as a World Heritage Site. And this gave all the villages a new fame, okay? A new level of fame all over the world. It was the year 1997. Since then, tourism has never stopped growing in Cinque Terre, reaching rapidly over tourism. So it's by one point of view, they did a great job because they brought tourism to some areas that were neglected by tourism. But now there is too much tourism. Okay, sometimes it's even impossible, almost impossible to walk in Vernazza, for example. So this is a big issue. Over-tourism can come in a very, very quick way, okay, like a tide, okay, like the high tide that comes in a matter of a few minutes. And another issue is that, well, tourism can lead to the development of infrastructures and can bring more money to the community, okay? So it can be a great opportunity for a community, okay? Because tourism needs infrastructures, roads, rails, ports, airports, services of any type, free toilets, etc. Okay, and this is great for the community on one side. On the other side, the risk is that the prices skyrocket. The real estate prices might skyrocket. Okay, so for example, or even the renting. Okay, so you need an apartment, but why should I rent you my apartment when I can rent it to tourists for twice, 3 times, 10 times the price? Okay, so a huge issue in Cinque Terre is that local people sometimes cannot find affordable houses, affordable homes, because the owners prefer to give them to the tourists. Okay, so tourism can be a great opportunity, and they did a great job by the point of view of territorial marketing, because they basically made a label of Cinque Terre. Cinque Terre is in fact a label. Okay, it's a product. Okay, that is the landscape, the local traditions, the local products, the wine, the fish, the olive oil. So they did a great job on some point, by a point of view, okay? But also this brought problems, okay? Not everybody's happy. Those who work directly with tourism are happy, but other people only feel the dark side of tourism, okay? And so one last thing, there are some policymakers there. The most important one is the National Park of Cinque Terre National Park, the smallest national park in Italy, okay? And it's a very peculiar one because it's not only the smallest, but also the most populated. And the environment there is nothing but natural, okay? Has nothing to do with nature, so to speak. It's a fully man-made environment because it has been transformed and shaped by people for centuries, okay, with the terraces, okay, the dry stone wall terraces. And so they are bringing on some interesting policies, and some of them worked very well. But a key point is that they couldn't always listen to the local people. So sometimes some policies were less effective than they could have been because they were top down and not bottom up.
Okay, thank you very much, Francesco, because just we move fast from Venice with an instrument to Cinque Terre with the problems that has Venice too, and the problems that each territory could be arrive to have if the territorial marketing is not correct. So I want just to move a bit to another point of view, to start to change. So this question is for Alina Stroh. No? So how do you move inside all these things you heard until now as a specialist of funding and European project and international funding? So can you connect all these things together and help us to understand how we can access to this idea? Because all these ideas and territorial marketing, etc., needs funding to be done in the correct way. Alina, it's the mic.
Thank you. Yes, can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, all these things that the speakers before me talk about, yeah, they need funding. They really need funding because without money you can't do very much thing. And from my point of view, I think that the small areas are kind of forgotten by the authorities because they don't allocate as much funding as they should be, and they have to focus more on the real needs of the population there, because not only the tourists, as Francesco before me said, but also the people that are affected by these problems. And yeah, from my point of view, I don't know how it's happening there in Italy, but here in Romania, the founding projects are basically allocated to the cities more than the regions that are underdeveloped.
Thank you very much, because it's exactly this the focus, you know, when how we all the financing in all the world are going to cities. To the international cooperation, it's concentrating his funding to cities, because there are a lot of people, and more funding to cities, more people to cities, less people to countryside, to highland, we have abandonment, and we have a lot of big trouble, as we have in Tuscany with wildfire and hydrogeological problems. So at this point, I go to Maddalena, because I asked to her to connect all these things, and just start to suggest how we can avoid this error, because we start from an instrument, but in a town that has a big problem, Venice, we go through Cinque Terre that has over tourism, especially in this area, or in some point, in some areas, the problem of funding, and now you have to collect this and start to say, okay, what we can do to avoid this, as a specialist in rural development and regenerative development.
Yes. First of all, I would want to say that during my thesis, I worked with the University of Bali, which is a mass tourism destination. And for this reason, I did some interviews with the Balinese, and I found out that there are several approaches, that could avoid the negative impacts that mass tourism can have on communities, the environment, and on many other aspects. And for example, community-based tourism, or any kind of tourism that includes local people, respect the local culture, and help create real exchange between tourists and community, should be considered like priorities. So the development of community-based tourism, ecotourism, so travel focused on experiences, on preserving nature, so like visiting national parks, staying in eco-friendly lodges, learning about wildlife and conservation, but also like agrotourism or farm tourism. So traveling or ways of travel that allows tourists to experience life on farm, and also cultural tourism, all those kind of tourism, volunteerism. So all those kind of tourism that combine travel with something else. So travel not just for, I don't know, like just to exploit the natural resources, but traveling with a different aim, which could be learning local traditions, history, but also combining helping the environment. So there are many different ways that could help the communities to not exploit their culture, not exploit their territorial, their natural resources just for tourism purposes, but try to combine what they need and what they can give to the tourists. So by like promoting lesser known areas, for example, through sustainable tourism, we could create new opportunities for local communities, like I did in Bali, because it could help also bring economic development and preserve cultural traditions that are not the most widely known at that moment. So yeah, I think that we should focus on the lesser known areas and try to focus on their highlights, on the main points, the key points on that area, and try to also spread the tourist, not only in one place, in one small place, but try to create a more wide track. I don't know how to say.
Okay, thank you, Maddalena. Now we just go through another thematics that's really connected with the first. I will start again with Isabella. And Maddalena, if you can turn on the camera, will be better. And one, we are going to the idea of from the vocation to the promotion, we can say. So, for example, how your micro itineraries can help to reveal and support the moving people from the overlooked, overwhelmed places to something new and attract new typology of tourists.
Pretty well. So the project has shown that giving, first of all, access to the information is extremely important because you can find people who are sensitive to the topic, so you find the right people. They actually are very tired of this system. So giving the ability to create the bridge is also very important. And actually, that is the QR code, the physical actually and creating standardization. I hope I'm answering your question right.
I think that, sorry, Isabella, but I think we cannot hear you. So I will keep
I arrive in 5 minutes. So
yes,
in 5
perfect.
minutes,
So
I will answer.
I put you in standby and I go to the round with the others. And when you arrive, you will speak back because I think it's really interesting what you have to say, and it's important that everybody can listen correctly. So I go to Bravin again, and which are your suggestion? The question more or less is the same. How you think we can include the local culture and valorize the territory in his complexity and not only in one point? As expert, you as one anthropologist, but a tour expert and tourist in tour a different type of tour. So if you can explain what are you doing and your experiential tour and what you suggest to promote the areas in different ways.
I think that making suggestions would be a very bold move, because every area, every field is different. So the only suggestion that would work would be to keep in touch with the local community, listen to the people, okay? So the policymakers should always listen to the inhabitants, okay? Not only the major stakeholders, but the community should be heard, okay? Now, but how to promote the local culture, the local heritage, local history? So there are many ways, of course. This process is a process that it's like the self-fulfilling prophecy, okay? So if you start saying, this is important for us, this particular building, this particular historical event, this particular local product, this particular tradition, if you start saying this is important, it becomes important, okay? It becomes important when it is part of the local discourse about the local identity. But the thing about identities is that they are not given, okay? They are made. Identities are made up, are shaped by policies, okay? So you remember, what Carlo Azeglio said, we have made Italy, now we have to make the Italians. That's the idea, okay? So a local identity is not something that exists on its own. It's something that can be shaped and made real through performances, okay? Through your advertising, the public discourses, and promoting a certain local product, connecting it to a certain historical event. Okay, so for example, in Cinque Terre, the major feature of Cinque Terre is the terraced landscape that is linked to the wine production. Okay, so we have a visual and a landscape feature, okay, that is connected to local food and wine, okay, and this is also connected to the local history because there are records of these terraces since the 15th century, okay. You can trace them back to the Republic of Genoa, the Sea Republic of Genoa, and so there are multiple connections, okay. So, but this feature is not the only feature of Cinque Terre. There are other features that didn't get the same attention. Why? Because they didn't work as well as this one, maybe, okay. So there is also there is not only wine production, there is also olive oil production, or many other plants, but the wine is the most important one because it's linked to the landscape, to the history, okay? So you see the labels of the wine. Almost every label has a pictorial version of the local landscape, which is so picturesque. And it's picturesque also because in the 1880s, there was a famous Italian painter, or Macchiaiolo, a Macchiaiolo from Florence, Giuseppe Signorini, Telemaco Signorini, who painted the landscape of Cinque Terre. So you can connect all the dots, okay? You need to find different elements from history, from culture, from literature, from art, okay? And you can also promote the local dialect or local language that express, in theory, the true spirit of the area, okay? The genius loci, if you like, okay? So a good territorial marketing puts together all these elements, but these elements are never the only ones, okay? They are chosen, okay? It's a discourse where you choose what works for you. And then
Perfect. It's really interesting, this, Francesco. And I just switch to another point of view because we should move from all the perspectives in the way that we can have a more wide panorama. No, it's going out from picturesque panorama and going on the wide area panorama. So it's other question for Alina, no, because it's, for me, it's a bit difficult to understand how we can connect all these things to the funding. No, so from the other side, how you that are reading all these things that we are saying, and how we can correctly translate into a language that can help your work.
Well, this is an interesting question. Yeah, from my experience what I've seen in the last year since I've been working with small and middle businesses. They only focus on the developing the areas of production and services. I think it would be more important if we see a joint work of public authorities and also the entrepreneurs that could work together in with the main and the same purpose of developing the area, because here in the world of European funds and non-refundable funds, the main purpose is to ameliorate the inegalities between regions. And they try to allocate more funding for the underdeveloped funds, but most of the time they don't do it in a clever way. Maybe because they're only seeing the big picture. Okay, let's develop this and this area, but not searching in the real needs of the people that are living there and the real needs of the regions to be promoted and to grow in resources and human resources especially, and to be seen in the world for their tradition and their cultural heritage.
Yeah, because it's now the most difficult things is to translate all these abstract words in something that could be funded at the end. Now, it will be the center of the key lesson of the 28, but are we gone a bit with Alina, because there are another thing that I want to ask there. It's a lot of time the funding, it's seen as something as technical and dry, not interesting, and okay, it's useful, but it's we are speaking about dirty money at the end. And so how you suggest to interact with the beneficiaries, the potential beneficiaries, and build a narrative and a strategic narrative about funding that it's less dry, more warm and involved?
Well, yeah, you're right. This world of funding is seen as something, and I think the funds should be promoted in a better way, to say so. Yeah, it's a very good question. How to do this? How to encourage people to develop their businesses and by accessing these non-refundable funds, because as I saw, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for especially for the small ones. They need the money to grow and to be seen on the main stage. Maybe it's the job of authorities to make them the funds actually well seen for the small entrepreneurs. They should I don't know, maybe they should come with a way better strategy for marketing. They should also use a lot of digitalization in this, because I saw in my my 5 years of working this, I saw people going with a lot of documents to the authorities, and maybe this is a bit discouraging, but for the businesses.
Okay, thank you. That it's a path that we will help people, because one of the objectives of this project is to help all the different languages to connect each other. So I go to Maddalena, because how we can help this narrative, this connection between different point of view. You have a lot of experience in the school, in different areas of the world, in your area. So how you suggest to help these different narratives to connect? Maddalena.
Isabella here. Sorry to interrupt. I'm ready later whenever you are.
Perfect. So now I come back to you. So Maddalena is still here, or it falls somewhere out of the digital arena?
Magdalena texted, "Can you hear me?" I think she has.
No, I can't
She
hear
texted.
you. We
We
can't
cannot
hear.
hear you.
Okay, Maddalena, it's out. Okay, so we can go back to Isabella. It's perfectly, it's here, it's nice. So, Isabella, I had a question. No? So if you can be short, I can ask you another things, because we have 14 minutes and we have a lot of question on the chat. So the question was how your instrument can help to move people from the more crowded areas to new areas, and how to attract new 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 people to the same place.
Thank you for the question. It's a very difficult question because it's not evident. Otherwise, anybody else would already have invented it. I wrote my master thesis about it, and I had a lot of head scratching during that period. So it was very difficult to attract or to have a movement. So a simple answer, one word answer, through curiosity. So the maps are a very simple and concrete measure to create the access to something sustainable. But what happens if nobody wants it? So it's a very difficult question. So imagine if you have an ice cream, everybody loves ice cream, so maybe everyone wants it and gets it. But then what if you give like something really, really, really healthy, like broccoli or something else? Maybe the person doesn't want to eat it. So it's very hard to make people do something which you think is healthy or sustainable. So this was a very big challenge. I think we did it through a very concrete instrument, which is positive. It has a nice illustration. It's easy and simple to access, and it's good to be found, and it's just fun. So we worked with schools as well, with students. They were very curious, and sometimes there's a spillover effect. So with 15 themes, maybe there's one thing somebody doesn't like, but then something else for sure they will like. So it was like like a portfolio of offers, and then the families or the individuals can choose it, and the accessibility, because you find it like in very central areas. So even if there's 1 million people and like a lot of them don't like it, but still there's a lot of traffic, so you can still like get to a certain part of them. So I hope this answers the question.
Interesting. Really, we are going to the end of this round table very fast. If Maddalena can open the mic, I will ask her to add something. But at the moment, I have one
Can you
question
hear me
for.
now?
Oh, you are here, Maddalena. Okay, we cannot see you. It's possible to see
Yeah,
you or not?
no, like as soon as I open
Oh, yes. Okay,
the
I
video, like
understand.
everyone,
And
everything.
this is the problem of digitalization.
Yeah.
And this will be the next week, not next week, the 3rd of July, we will start this point. So if you remember the question, you can just answer. So we.
I didn't really hear you, so
Well, from your point of view, not that you have a different experience in school, in different areas, different
mhm,
countries, and you are back in your own city. So,
mhm.
how we can start to renovate this narrative, because at the end we are speaking about how the different narratives are building the reality that we are around. So the narrative of funding, it's dry, and the gelato, it's better than broccoli.
So yeah, I think that creating narratives in tourism means building connections. So connections between places, stories, and people. And in a way, like every destination has its own identity. So which is shaped by its landscapes, its history, and the lives of the people who live there. So by bringing all these elements together into a coherent story, a coherent narrative, we can turn like also a trip into a journey, into a narrative. So for example, a small mountain village, which isn't just a beautiful place to visit, but it might be hold centuries of traditions, forgotten legends, ways of life that are deeply connected to the land. So sharing these stories through local guides, signs along high trekking trails, or through cultural experiences helps visitors understand not just what they see, but what it means. Like, I think that designing tourism in this way can help create also more sustainable and more respectful experiences. So it encourages slower and more conscious travel. So people are key part of this process because meeting local farmers, artisans, or storytellers themselves allows tourists to hear personal stories, which can be part of the narratives. Personal stories can be the narratives themselves. So, for example, a cooking class is not just about food, but it's a way to learn about the local costumes, the local values, and the local identity. Or also, nature can tell stories. So, a path through the forest might follow an ancient, I don't know, shepherd's route. So, a river might carry tales of trade, survival, spirituality. So, what is important is to study the territory, study its history and the people. So, when we give meaning to these elements, to the landscape itself becomes part of the narrative.
Okay, thank you very much. And now we have, I have one interesting question from the public, but before I want to ask you one thing that I think it's important. So we in thinking in all the things you said, each one of you, which was the biggest challenge you afford in your work? I will start with Francesco Bravin.
Well, it's a big question. Generally, I'm an anthropologist, okay? So I'm talking about my field work in Cinque Terre during my PhD. And one of the biggest challenges is the access to the field, okay? And as Maddalena has worked in Bali, she probably knows the famous episode of the I can't find the English word for that. When there was this
The fight of
the
rooster,
cockfights, the
cockfight.
cockfight. Yeah, you remember, you know what I'm talking about. So
Yes, sure.
yes, thank you. So the access to the field can be challenging because sometimes you're just a foreigner, an outsider, and people don't trust you. But
Perfect. Thank you, Francesco. So next, the biggest challenge, Isabella.
The biggest challenge of
3
all,
words we need.
okay, as a cultural entrepreneur, was to create like green and circular products so they are sustainable in themselves, and to have like a constant revenue stream so that there is an annual base. I think that's like it was difficult, but it's like a very good challenge to have to not just focus on European funding and to think that they will just fall from the sky, which I saw in a lot of other organizations, where they had struggles even after 10 years to just have a stability. Unless you're like a university and you have like a fixed stipend, you have to take care of yourself and of your staff. So having a like a not passive income, that's like the ideal situation, but having like a regular income flow through the sales of sustainable projects, creating a like a flow of sustainable change. I think also having the economic part was very challenging, and I think it's extremely important. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Alina. Your biggest challenge.
Well, my biggest challenge here is the bureaucratic application process for fundings, because there are a lot of eligibility criteria, very complex, very not understandable. Like I may think this is like this, but another person think the other thing, and also the very large period of time between the application process and when your project is being evaluated and you can sign the contract. This is a very huge problem, and this is very discouraging for the beneficiaries, because they have to wait a lot of time that came with developing the technology that is not applicable on your project that you submitted. So yeah, this is my biggest challenge.
Perfect. Maddalena, please, in less than 1 minute.
Okay, I would say that promoting lesser known areas without triggering the negative effects already seen in mass tourism destinations. So finding ways, effective ways to promote small scale tourism. So building trust and designing experiences that respect nature and the culture.
Perfect. We will take this when we next time we will speak about social. We will take again this. So we have one question from the public. I will ask to everybody of you to be really fast, but it's important. Said, as a new person here, I want to ask, how does one start a rural development bar tourism project? How to get in this line of work? Please, suggestion for this person that is interested to understand how. 1 minute each one, please. Start, Bravin.
Well, I would say to find other people that might share your vision and help you with that, and involve the community as much as you can. This is a good start.
Okay, Isabella.
In my point of view, first of all, you need to know like what kind of organization you represent, because it's different. As a cultural entrepreneur and startup, I would suggest you, if the community allows, to have a look at the Patto Meraviglia, which is a group of different organizations who do sustainable projects, as well as the HiCoMa network or other networks, and look at the clusters and just like look at a lot of examples. And then just see them, study them. There's also a EU portal of projects, sustainable projects you can like look at. And then you have to create a plan, like a 1-page plan. Just write down like a short introduction, then the stakeholders, like who we want to involve and what your primary objective is. So have like a bozza, so a first draft. And then if you're really starting out, you should have like a pool of mentors, so people who you look up to, who can follow your work. And maybe there's a knowledge mentor, so somebody who will talk to you a long time about a very specific thing. Then there will be maybe a management mentor. Then there's a finance mentor. So focus on like the different types of and styles of mentors, and don't expect apples from a pear or bananas from an apple. So accept the people you work with as they are, and love them for who they are, and appreciate them for how they go about. So that's like 1 minute. And then when you have your first draft, try it and test it, see if there are alternatives. Then apply for funding, because there is like a lot of funding available. If you're not able to fund it through European funding with big projects, try small projects. They're not competitive. And then try to have a sustainability, so economic sustainability as well. So don't just do a project to then put it back into like a basket and hide it under your desk, but just, you know, have it like, have a continuity. So that's my
Perfect.
suggestion.
Perfect. This is
Thank
an entire course about how to start. Alina?
Obvious, I would say that if you have the opportunity, submit a project, apply for a funding program, because it's a good thing that can help you, especially on the start.
Thank you, Alina. Maddalena?
I would say engage the community. So develop what are the local plans, and then find partnerships. So governments, NGOs, or other businesses which can actually help the community. And then provide education for the community about the project. So in a kind of way, raise awareness also.
Okay, perfect. We are just in time. I take 1 minute to say mine too. So the best is at the end you have all the answer in this different point of view, different answers. So found organization, found help. For example, this project it's just for this. So people who enter in Highland Community Manager can be a student, but you can interact with the experts. You can ask to experts, and found organization as Sepoate, as CREA 360 o Centro Ricerche Antropologiche o A 2030 Social Innovation Designer. It could be a way to see different point of view. So we are here, and look, we are waiting for you, logically. And okay, was very fast this round, and I had to try to. It's difficult now to make a closing. So what I can say, I arrive on my paper when I was taking notes between you were speaking. It's really the center of all this is how build collective and not collective narration about the areas. So we have to found the vocation of the different areas. There are multiple vocation. We need to involve all the stakeholders that are not only the ones that can have a economic power on, for example, hotels or other, but we have to speak with the other person because there are a lot of people living in the places, and try to follow the idea of sustainability. Now we have the different indicator, but for us are really important the cultural and social sustainability indicator. So but evaluate the impact of our decision. There will be. I want to close with one word because there is no project without funding. Okay, so we have to start to think that if we write something, always we have to think how much it will cost. Could be in kind. This is not a problem, but the resources are necessary and we can use money to evaluate. So thank you to everybody. And as you know, all this webinar, roundtable, all the material are on our learning platform. So you can go there and listen again, and maybe you can have some wonderful ideas.
Fabio,
Yes.
maybe sorry, may I just add one thing, just small thing for those who start
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, you are.
Maybe it's thank you. Maybe it's also good to just follow like what your heart says and your passions and what you think is right. I really encourage, especially the people who know or are involved with organizations such as activists and people who like really care and do things about them, to really like find their own passion and do a positive project. Like if you feel so strongly about something that bothers you, like just try to be like a radical optimist and try like how can you switch it around and create an opportunity. So if, for example, housing is a problem, like try to find an alternative to make things like work out. So maybe it's just about changing perspective. So really feel it, like encounter it, and the funding comes like when you believe very strongly about something, like the money will flow in some way, if it's European funding or if people will support you, but you really have to put the passion in it, and you need to believe in what you do every day. So that's so important. And then the technical things, you will get help from the university, from your mentors, from your support system, but things will come. You really need to do something you truly care about, in my point of view.
Yes, this is the voice of the real entrepreneurs. So today I was speaking with Paolo Licata, and we arrived to the idea that the waves, the big waves, are something terrible for the people that's bathing into the beach, but are the motor, the engine for the surfer. So we have to learn how to be a more surfer than people that have fear of the waves. So on this really passionate of Isabella, we will close, and thank you everybody to stay with us, and please remember to register somewhere, because anyway you will not have any other communication. So follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So bye to everybody, and thank you to Alina, to Isabella, to Bravin, and to Maddalena Rozzato for their help and their time. Thank you very much, and bye.
Thank you all. Bye.